Let's bring in full View Anchor Bongiwe Zwane, who joins us now from Soweto, Meadowlands Zone 3. Bongiwe is hearing from residents how their reality squares up against the backdrop of this policy conference, which outlines the party's strategic trajectory, which is intended to create a better life for all. Are you hearing stories that corroborate that intention, Bongiwe? Good evening.
Good evening again, Iman. As we are coming to you live from Meadowlands in Zone 3, just as we got here, Iman, Zone 2, in fact, electricity went off. And you can only imagine what these residents are battling with as we, really having some conversations off camera. Iman, for them, they feel like they are pretty much forgotten, as they say that they've got various issues that they would like to raise, and they would like these issues to be handled. And top of mind for them is electricity supply that they say is not consistent, it's not stable. We know that this is something that is contained in the documents as the ANC, really discusses policy direction for this country. They talk about how they want a supply of electricity that is stable, because if it's dark like this for them, it increases the rate of crime. But let's have a conversation. Iman, I'll start with Opa, who is going to start and talk, to us just a bit about, some of the hopes that they have as the ANC discusses these policies. And Opa, we were talking off air nalwena ubua ka gore khona le ntho tse ngata tse ileng gore o batla di addressiwe, but a re bue re qale mo gore ANC khona no ba kopane ko Nasrec ba bua taba tsa policy, and they looking at all the various policies in this country. These include the electricity supply that we're talking about, they include the issue ya crime, they include the issue of service delivery. Wena o karata gore ha ba ntse ba dutse mo ba bua ka eng?
Babuega electricity most of the time, because Morelente Mona is a dangerous place. People can walk at night, in the mornings. Because sometimes when I go to work, I can light my koloi. Pona le batho ba emeng gore ke ba laitele ba khona go feta because ba tsaba. Ke nna on a corner house, so go na le di-passage, so these trucks ba hide mo di-passageng. Batho ba tsaba go feta. Lena myself ke tsaba go tswa ka koloi go tse I have gore ke tsoko gating ke tlo sheba ka mokone gore go na le eng wa bona. So these people le bona ba botlhale ba ka nne ba etsa their moves, and the plus minus ke koloi ya company ke tsamang ka yona.
And would you say gore taba e ya crime e nna we se ga go le gontso so as go le gontso gonano?
Definitely sure go yalo. Crime ngata too much.
Yaanong for wena ge o dula mo Meadowlands Zone 2, ha ba bua ka taba ya electricity, because ba bua ka gore vele tshwantse gore go nne le constant electricity supply, le president o ila bua ka gore ba tlo try gore ba etse di means tsa gore ba improve supply ya energy. O ka rata gore ha ba addressa issue ya electricity ba be eng gore ebe gore e tsamaye gantle for wena?
No, tshwanetse ba be le shoka ntho ba yetsang. Baske ska nna ntho ya o bua fela then ntho in ke another 1 year go sna ntho e tswellang go pele, because gona le batho ba nang le bana ba banyane bana ba etsetswa mabotlolo bosigo, bana ba ya dikolong, there's no electricity in the schools. But right now as we speak, ka mo high school ka mo bana ba go sekolong gona no go laitile dikerese le mabone a ba reka mo di shopong, and that thing, it doesn't last long. It just took 10 minutes, and then le simula le ya ko tlase, and le bana ba tshaba go tsamaya masigo. And le wena le ngwana a tswila tsamaile o na le tsoko ntlo gore ngwana o kae.
Iman, Tate Opa says to us that when it's dark like this, now they don't have electricity, they don't know when it's going to return. Crime becomes a huge problem. He says he stays in a corner house where he finds himself having to wake up earlier when he goes to work and switch on the lights of his car, in fact, to make sure that there's lighting for those that are passing through the passage that is near his home, to ensure that there's no one waiting around the corner to rob them, because they say that this is a huge issue for them. And there's also, learners who go to a high school right in the evening to try and be able to study, get some extra time when it comes to studying, but they have to use candles in order to be able to study. But at the same time, they then fear for their safety because he says this is not a safe, area, particularly when the lights are off. And let's speak to another resident, Iman, and Koko re a leboga for nako ya gago. Wena ha ba ntse ba bua ko Nazareth. O ka rata gore ke eng di policy tse ba ka di beyang ba bue ka tsona gore bophelo ba gago e leng Nkgono Matshidiso bo tsamaye gantle?
Nna nka rata gore electricity e be teng mo dintlo le mo strateng, because mo strateng re mo dintlong tsa di-corner ke re dula re tshogile gore batho ba ka kena anytime vele ba kena mo dintlong tse dingwe. Yaanong ha ba ka re lokisetsa electric gore bana go seng ha ba ya sekolong ba e ba tlhapile ka metsi a tšhesang, ene gape bonkgono ba kula ba phela ka dipilisi go seng ke tshwanetse ke futhumatse motogo electric ha iyo a ke kgone go nwa dipilisi. Right now re na le lefu mo same street la nkgono o weleng ka mo ntlong a wiswa ke yone tlalo wa bolokwa ka osana. Yaanong re ka rata gore re se ke ra promisiwa dintho tse empty now and then ne go re tla mare go sena nko e tswa le mine.
Iman, a very heartbreaking story that we just heard from Nkgono Matshidiso. She talks about the issue of electricity being top of mind for her. But the biggest issue is that she says right in this very street, you can't see it, it's dark, there's a tent, there's a funeral, she says, that will be held for an elderly woman who died because of hunger. And she says they are the elderly in the area. When there's no electricity, they can't boil water to be able to take some of their tablets. They cannot be able to even warm some of their food. So she says that she's tired of empty promises, and she hopes that as they discuss these solutions, because the ANC talks about a constant and stable supply of electricity in its documents and how they want this to be a reality for a number of residents. And she says that she hopes this is not going to just be talk and empty promises, because they keep saying they are going to, but simply not doing. Ausi, I'm going to come to you, and thank you so much for your time. Ke kopa lebitso la hao.
Ke Dineo Patswane from
Okay. Ausi Dineo, for you, as ANC ikopane gona nong ko Nazareth ba bua ka ntho tse ngata, ba bua ka di issue tsa di immigration, di border gore tshwantse di be safe, ba bua ka issue ya crime gore tshwantse ba strengthen CPF, ba gone gore ba etsa sure gore CPF e berekisana le mapodisa. Ke tsa feng ntho tse leng gore wena o ka rata gore ba be ba bua ka tsone tse affectang o le resident ya Meadowlands?
like nna ke residence ya Tshepisone e se ya Meadowlands. Ntho tse ka nka ratang gore ba ka bua ka tsona ke crime. Like nna mo ke dulang ko teng ko Tshepisong, crime rate ya teng is very high. If you can go to road report pathology unit, over how many dead bodies do they collect ko Tshepisong every week, you will be amazed. And pleke e tshwana le eo e be ile re ha ina police station, re saveiwa ke Kagiso, which is Kagiso le yona e ya re fail. And le ka taba ya motlakase ko Tshepisong, city power e ya re faila ka motlakase. Like motlakase wa teng wa city power o divide ka di lines na le di lines tsa teng di 4 is A, B, C, D and D, and re na le A and D e leng hore every day motlakase ko yona wa tima. And the mistake here we entswe ke city power hore ha ba introduce line A ba be ba sa ikenyetse thapo ya bona straight from ko Telkom, ba ba fitla ba I connecta ko line D, and every time ina overload e ya trapper. Due to that ntho ya teng ba introduce ntho e ba ibitsang ba is the load rotation e leng hore every day line A and D and B 12 hours ha una motlakase. Like no ha ke tloa ko ntlong ke sena motlakase from moseng ka 7 o tlo khutla no afternoon ka 7 ka usane hape mantsibe ke tlo robala without motlakase. So if ba ka lokisa dintho tse tshwanang le tse ba ne ra sokola re le batho ba South Africa, and hape rona re le basadi re mo danger. Crime is too high, basadi ba rapiwa ba bolaiwa. So go kopa hore whatever e ba buang ka yona jalo ka ba le Nazareth ba tloele o bua fela ba implement re kgathetse ke dipuo re ba ka action ya no.
O bua ka Kagiso a o swa ka ke o re Kagiso ke yona e le serviceang ha ke nagana ntho e tsagetseng mo le ko West Maobane, and re bone basadi ba rapiwa, and a lot of concern around gore go tsagalang mole. A re bua ka gore ha le tshoge lona le bona gore di incident tse jwalo di etsagala e bile ko West.
The accident tse tshwana le tseo di bohloko ene ke nagana gore minister ya minerals o tshwantse a nke maikarabelo ka di-mine tsele tse abandoned tse sa sebetseng tshwantse di-mine tsele di kwalwe gobane if ne se ka di-mine tseo batho ba lene ba tla ya mo le ba shoote that video ya bona without gore go tle batho ba di zamazama ba fitlhe ba tla ba rape mo. So minister ya mineral ke kopa gore a thusa gore di-mine tsele di kwalwe di ngata di-mine ko Westland tse setseng fela tse ileng gore batho bana ba kena ba epa ba etsa whatever e ba e batlang ene rona re le di-residents tsa mo Gauteng ha re safe anytime re ka wela gobane batho bana ba ya epa the way ba batlang ka teng.
All right, Iman, she's talking about very disturbing stories that she says she's from Tepisong, which is also in Soweto, and she says that for her, it's very difficult because they don't have a police station. And if we were to go, she says, to the pathology services in the West Rand and ask them how many dead bodies they collect from an area like Tepisong on a weekly basis, it will shock us. And she says that they are being serviced by a police station in Kagiso, and they wish that that is an issue that can be, addressed when it comes to crime. She's also raising the same issue of electricity, Iman, but also reacting to that incident we saw in Krugersdorp yesterday, 8 women being raped. She says that the Minister of Minerals and Minerals, Resources and Energy needs to take responsibility for some of these mines that are left, that are these old mines that are unused, that are just left for anybody to be able to access, because those people who are, utilizing them are in fact just digging, and they're finding themselves in danger as well as some of the residents that live in these in these communities that are near these abandoned mines. And she says that the minister needs to have a clear plan when it comes to these mines, because they were going to be able to shoot that music video, those women yesterday without anybody disturbing them, but simply because there's lawlessness around this very issue. She says that that's when, this incident was able to then be allowed to happen. Papa, as we wrap up, we'll wrap up with you. Ke kopa umphe lebitso la hao.
Lebitso la ka ke Colin Makgopela.
Ntate Colin, when we were talking to you, one of the issues that you raise are issues around immigration. And this is what also the ANC is talking about when it comes to some of the policy directions of this country as they look at the issues of stability. Around that issue of immigration,
Yeah, nna re ka kopa gore if a ntse ba kopanyana ha ba shebelle batho ba tswang kontle gore ba na le pampiri tse ba tshwanetseng na. And then if motho a na le pampiri tse ba tshwanetse, ha re gopola hantle ne re tseba gore motho a tshwanetse a tle mo South Africa or in any country kwa yang ko yona go tshwanetse ba tlile ka business e itseng gore a tloetla gore maybe like mo South Africa ba ile ba bua gore if you come from any country go botse ba gore o na le investment e ka banya 5 million gore o go kgona go own something mo South Africa, o see something mo South Africa, not just to come and then o tlo iketsa owner ya mo South Africa o kena go batlang go teng. Now gona no se re tshwere ke batho mo di plekeng tsa rona se le bone ba owner. How can o le a businessman o ne le dispaza tse terimo mo strateng se one, but motho mo South Africa ena a sena nix kaofela. And ka mo o tshwere di pasa tse dingata ntho tse ngata di a bonala gore ke tse dintho di a tlhagela batho ba teng a ba tshwarwe ka jeko a tloga mo plekeng ena o ya go plekeng eng o tloga mo Meadowlands o ya go Naledi. Now gona no re electric ya rona e tsamaya ka lebaka le lentsinyana because of we are overpopulation ka baka la batho ba leng gore ke bone ba tlhang kontle ba le gore ba emello gore bone ba na le dipampiri but a re di bone dipampiri tsa bone. Ne re kopa gore ba fe Ntate Elias Motswaledi mosebetsi wa gagwe a tswelle pele ka ona le crime e go dimo now yana. I'm one of the patrollers ba leng gore re puletse neighborhood watch re tlhako CPF e leng gore ha re sebeletse from ko police station go na le botsotsi bo ba buetsang ba re go ba ko police station a re ba bolella dinnete. Now re sebetsa le batho ba re gore re tsama bosigo ka neighborhood watch ke itse di trucks ka ofela re ikrele but re tlhako police station ba batla be rona ba le gore re tshwantse re di teste gore ka mannete ke di trucks ntho tse re di kra mo le gore ke ba tswante batho ba di tshwarang dintho tse ke fake ya di 200 tse ke di trucks tse le gore ba di rekisa re na le dintlo tsa di trap house tse le gore re kena go tsone re kra le gore re bula le di council ka re le di council tsa rona di ka di bona ntho tsena ba kena mo dintlo gore ba tsebe gore dintlo tse tsa batswadi ba rona di nkilwe ke batho ba tswang ko ntle and ha re ntse re kena di-case ko police station case tsa rona a di nkiwe o nkiwa ditšhelete di-bribe from ko police station more especially Meadowlands police station yona ke tlo tshaba go e ba ke tlo e beya straight Meadowlands police station ya re feile gagolo batho ba rona ba sokola now yana re kopile gore dikolo tsa rona bana ke ba bangola di-matriculants ba ngola a bana motlakase no yana le councillor o re bolelela ka ntho e nngwe e different every time ha re mmitsa ko meeting ha appear ko meeting re mo kopile gore a kopane le di-principal a ba tlhalosetse ka electricity ra e bona rona di-resident but bana ba sekolo future ya rona go tsho re bola future ya bana ba rona instead of nke be retsa bana ba rona gore ba tswelele pele.
Colin, Iman, that's how we end off this conversation tonight. We were speaking to Colin, and he says that these are things that they are collecting from various households when they are conducting the neighborhood watch. And he says that this, as you can see, Iman, this is a fake 200 Rand note. I don't want to touch it because it is evidence. And also at the same time, he says these are some of the illicit substances that they are collecting from various households. You can see these are pipes, Iman, that are being used when, some are smoking some of these illicit, substances. He says these are the things that they are collecting as the community. And for them, they are not getting any joy from the police station. And Iman, when you read the documents, these are things that they talk about. They say that they are calling for communities to work better with the police service and improve the response time. Police to understand that theirs is not only about law enforcement, but it is also to build relations with community members who are doing such work, the CPFs, the neighborhood watchers, Iman. But listening to him, he's very distressed and says that they're not getting any joy from the Meadowlands police station. At the same time, he talks about how it's even more difficult because they have quite a number of people that are illegal foreigners as well. So quite a lot of issues are emerging from this community, Iman, but we'll leave it there for now. It's back to you.
Bongiwe, thank you very much. Very hard to hear those stories, and please be safe where you are.